This is our journey. We're healing together.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Here Together, Healing Together. I'm Lauren Boone.
I'm Glenda Boone.
And today we are talking about protecting your peace. But before we do, please make sure to subscribe to my channel and watch all of the other videos if you are new here from the Healing Together, Here Together series. We are a mother-daughter duo talking about how we've overcome some family estrangement and difficulties, but we're stronger. So we're going to get into it. Recently, this month or last month, we posted a question on our social media channels asking some of our viewers and friends who may have experienced no contact or estrangement from family members of any kind to just share some things that they have either had questions about or are struggling with or have struggled with. And so we received quite a few comments. You can still leave your comment as well as we're continuing to bring you this type of content to get through it and to journey through it with you. But the second question that we are going to be talking about today comes from protecting your peace. So Mom, do you want to read it?
Yes. This question, actually this comment, it wasn't really a question. Okay, for me, my decision to distance myself from two particular family members, a very difficult decision, was my personal choice in order to preserve my peace and peace of mind. Sometimes I ask myself and God if was being too harsh or if I made the right decision. The happiness, peace, joy I feel on a daily remind me that it was the right choice for me. And I'm praying for these particular family members' healing. I'm optimistic that we will reunite one day.
Thank you. So, that was a lot there.
Yeah.
Where shall we begin?
Well, I can relate to this comment from my own personal experience in that when my family member decided to become estranged, they kind of said some of the same things, that they needed peace of mind, they needed space. It came in the form of a certified letter. Mm-hmm. So that was, again, daunting because I'm still in this panicky stage. I'm thinking now, this is around the time of the R. Kelly, and just crazy things was running through my mind. And I'm thinking, oh my God, is she being brainwashed? What's happening? So I really wasn't, because of the way I had received the news and what it said, I didn't really read it or listen. I didn't really listen to what was being said. Mm-hmm. And really what they were saying was that for my own well-being, and it had nothing to do with me or other family members, but for their own well-being, they needed space. Mm-hmm. That's really what they were saying. And the way I was reacting to it was as any normal person, I would think, at that time, not understanding what was going on fully. Mm-hmm. And so in my world, I'm thinking, oh my God, they're in danger, something's wrong. But in their world, they're saying, back off, give me space. Mm-hmm. And so what I had to learn, and this was long, y'all. It did not happen overnight. This was years. So I don't want y'all to think that this, this happens overnight, because it didn't. But what I learned was that I had to stop worrying about trying to pull someone back into my life who did not want me there. Mm. And so I had to figure out for me, how do I get my peace? I'm so worried about them and their peace and not focused on me and my peace. And so when I finally got that revelation, I went through all of the stages, and I'm sure we'll talk about that, all the different stages later on. But for me, it was to get me to the point of where it was no longer about them and the situation, but was more about me and my growth and what was my journey in this and what was I supposed to learn for this. So it's not about being selfish. It's not about you not loving that person, but it is about really the experiences that you're having right now, spiritually, your growth, moving forward, and finding your peace.
You touched on a lot there. I heard like just pulling out things I think would be helpful for the audience is like listening, you know, understanding that may have been a point of growth for you, right? Is to listen. And then the second one was like really focus on your peace. That peace goes both ways in the no contact estrangement way, like world. It really does, because if you don't seek peace for yourself in the situation, then you do become really obsessed and really enthroned with, oh my God, well, what did I do? Like you really have a breakdown of some sort. And so I think it's really important to understand, and as you said, the process, go through those stages and honor those stages. Like you said, it's normal for a person to react in the way that you did, because it's like, well, what is a shock, right? You're reading something certified that you had to pay for first. Like that would make you angry.
You pay for it.
Okay, you had to sign for it, but still had to go out your way to go get it. It ain't like it came to your mailbox, like you had to go get it. Then for it to be what it said, the contents of it is striking and it's alarming. So any rational person would assume that something is wrong with this and have some denial and have some anger, which are all parts of the grieving process. And I think that is something that we do have to talk about as people who are dealing with no contact or estrangement from family members, is that we all go through a process of grieving. We are grieving a person, and it's kind of worse than a person who has passed away and transitioned, because they are still here living. And there are still things daily, you know, that remind you or that can trigger you. Whether intentionally or unintentionally. And I think that's another episode conversation as well.
Triggers, yes.
But there are things that are going to happen because the person is still alive. And it makes it that much more painful. And so I thank you for sharing parts of your story of like how your reaction to the beginning of the estrangement.
Because I think it's important for those that are going through it on both sides. I'm sure, I think both sides need support. But for me, I can only speak from my experience. And I think it is very, very important. And I prayed on this. Trust me, this just didn't, this took a minute. But I knew how difficult and painful it was for me. So it is important for me to share my story in a respectful manner and be as transparent as I can, so that I can help other people. So I can help other people, because there is no guarantee that those that are estranged from you will ever come back in your life. But what is guaranteed is that your days are numbered. All of our days are numbered. And we have to decide, and we have to move forward with how we're going to live the rest of our life.
Yeah, moving forward. Because it's not like we can just stay in this position, right? I think the person mentioned being optimistic of reuniting at some point, but I think you also added a good point that sometimes reunification is not in the plans. And I think that's where we really have to rely heavily on God.
Yes.
And understand that, hey, have your will. Let your will be done in this matter, because there's not much more that I can do in it. So yeah. I would say continue to seek peace by understanding that you are going through a grieving process, right? And some things you do have to distance yourself from. So some key things and practical things to do is, if that person maybe still be on social media, maybe mute them or block them, or, restrict access for you seeing what's happening in their lives, if that may, trigger you. Also, like around the holidays, right? Obviously memories are going to come up, just kind of like with people who have transitioned. The people who are no contact or estranged from, that stuff is going to come up too, right? Do something for you during those days, right? Make sure that you create new traditions and you focus on the here and now. Are there some tips you would give people to like protect their peace?
Give yourself grace. Give yourself grace. Forgive yourself work on yourself, because estrangement just doesn't happen. No contact just doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't happen because of an incident. Something has happened and built up over time. And we have to own it. We have to own only the part, though, that we take ownership in. We have to own it, and then we have to work towards it if we do want true reconciliation. And if reconciliation doesn't come, it's okay, because the work that you've done will help you to grow as an individual, and it will help in your healing process.
And one last thing, recognize when you have made it from like the denial stages of grief and the but the bargaining, not the denial, anger, and then when you make it to the bargaining stage, that's when you start asking yourself like, okay, well, what if I did this? What if that happened? Once you start noticing that you are asking yourself what if questions and what if questions, you have to build community. You have to seek support. You have to figure out who can support me in this. Is it my partner? Is it my husband? Is it my children? And my other children who's still talking to me, right? Is it my sisters, brothers, like, or is it my best friend? Or is it someone completely like a stranger, someone who may be going through the same thing as I have gone through it, that I don't know, because sometimes our support system is not as close as we think it is. And so you might need to reach out. And some of those resources you can find on my website, lovewellmin.com. So you can find more information there on how to build secondary support systems for you if this is something that you are experiencing. And so we thank you all for your attention and staying through this video. We know you don't have to, but we thank God that you did. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And please continue answering the questions, the Here Together, Healing Together questions that will come out on both of our social media pages. You can find me at It's Lauren Eliz on Instagram and Lauren Eliz on Facebook. And until next time, be blessed. Bye.
This is our journey. We're healing together.